सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्. We have completed first 5 slokas in chapter 6. Now we have to start from sloka number 6. Paramatma gave this entire meditation chapter in 5 parts. The first part being the Bahiranga Sadhanani, or the practices that are to be practiced throughout the day, not just before the meditation. So that is nothing but the Karma Yogam. So this Bahiranga Sadhanani he has completed in 1 to 4 slokas. Whereas the 6th sloka is a very important sloka, as I told you in the last class. It talks about the self-effort. Usually people think that everything is predestined. Everything is programmed. So it goes according to the program. So that is the understanding of some people. Even in the Vedantic circles also, to talk about this type of things. Here, in this particular sloka, Paramatma is emphasizing on the self-effort, that is prayatnam, purushayatnam. So this purushayatnam is an important factor. I also told you what is called fate and fatalism. The fate means it is a prarabdha, the future which is determined by prarabdha karma, and this prarabdha karma is one of the factors which decides our future. That is what we call fate. But fatalism is the one which says that the prarabdham is the only factor. Prarabdham is the only and only factor which decides the future. So your future is already written, you cannot change it. That kind of attitude is there. So that is called the fatalism or destiny-oriented type of thinking. In the previous class, we have discussed a wonderful sloka, that is Uddhared Atmanatmanam Atmanam Avasadayet Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha Atmana Atmanam Uddharet Atmanam na avasadayet Atma eva hi Atmanaha bandhuhu Atma eva Atmanaha ripuhu. So this particular sloka says that you are the friend of yourself and you are the enemy of yourself. One should uplift oneself by oneself. One should not degrade or lower oneself. For the self alone is the friend of oneself, and the self alone is the enemy of oneself. So this is the essence. This talks about the self-effort, the Purusha Prayatna, using of free will. So this is a very big debate in the Vedantic circles also. The Paramatma, in the beginning of the 6th chapter, is dealing with the general disciplines to be observed by an individual throughout his transactions, so that he will enjoy the mind which is conducive to meditation, which we called Samanya Sadhanani or Bahiranga Sadhanani. The first and foremost Bahiranga Sadhanam that Paramatma prescribed is maintenance of poise of mind, to be equipoise, maintenance of samatvam of the mind. Even when we go through different kinds of experiences, mentally we can maintain that balance, that composure we can maintain. We do not have control over our experiences because our experiences are dependent on the external world. And I do not have control over the external world. I do not have control over the others' behavior. My own family members, I do not know how they behave tomorrow. See, if you take the wife and husband, after a long association also, sometimes they wonder how the spouse behaved like this. So this way, the human behavior is unpredictable. So with these factors, to maintain samatvam, it is very difficult. Whereas a karma yogi maintains samatvam because he takes everything that comes unto him as karma phala given by Ishvara. So there is a samatvam, there is a samabuddhi for him. Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsasi. Now in the fifth verse, Paramatma is introducing another important exercise or discipline, that is self-effort. Using free will appropriately. Because in our scriptures, we accept the existence of free will for the human being. There is no free will for the plant kingdom. They are programmed and conditioned. Their behavior is inbuilt. There is no choice in case of the animals also. We do not accept the free will for animals. That is why animals do not have choice. Therefore, animals do not have any responsibility also. Therefore, they do not have either punyam or papam. So this is the state of the animals. But a human being accrues papam or punyam because of the free will. Because he does certain things and with his own free will, which accrues the papam or punyam. So, there is always a debate between free will and destiny. When we have the kacheri, the musical kacheri, all the instruments are to be tuned before the program. So all the artists, they will assemble half an hour before the program and they fine tune each instrument and then they start the program. They know the very intricate tunes, so they can tune properly and see that the harmony is generated, the harmonious sound is generated. The vocalist will, adjust the tambura, shruti, and the shruti is adjusted in all the instruments accordingly. So the entire, the orchestra goes with one tune, with one shruti. If you go to Hindustani, they are very, very particular, they are very precise and very accurate. This is the most important factor for the success of a musical program. So much so in our day-to-day life also, if you want to achieve something, your buddhi wants to do something, some good things, but your mind will not accept. Your mind, objects. Your mind acts in a reverse direction. And Indriyas will not cooperate. So, because there is no coordination between mind, intellect, and Indriyas, we cannot achieve things unless they are in a harmonious way, unless they are in a coordinated way. You cannot achieve anything, just like the musical program. So this is what is very, very important. On the contrary, these people who are, destiny-oriented people, who talk that destiny is the only thing which is, already programmed, which is already written, and we are sent here with a destiny. We cannot do anything. So that is their attitude. So we have a sloka in support of this type of logic. Harinapi harenapi brahmanapi surairapi lalata likitareka parimashtum na sakyate. So this is about those who believe in destiny. The destiny-oriented people talk like this. So even it is Hari or Shiva, they also cannot change. So even if they want to intervene, whatever is pre-written, whatever is there in the Lalata Likitam, we say that Lalatam, that Brahma writes the Prarabdha. According to that, it happens. You cannot alter that. That is the thing. If you look at the Shastra, do talk about the Parihara Karma, Prayaschitta Karma. The Parihara Karma and Prayaschitta Karma are meant for addressing the bad Prarabdha. So, it is like this. When we have, when a person approaches a doctor with an illness, the doctor will not give the prescription directly. He will say, you go and get this, medical test done and come with the reports. Once you come with the reports, if it is very minor problem, he will give some medicines and will say this fever is due to some infection. You use this antibiotics for certain days, and then you can be cured of this particular problem, ailment. If it is a problem like, sugar or BP, then he will say, don't worry, you have to control, you have to use these medicines lifelong. A thyroid problem. So there is no cure, but you can always control. So this is a secondary type of, solution. The third solution is that he will say the problem is not within my hand. The problem is beyond my scope. I cannot do anything. So you call your relatives. The days are numbered. Like that, the doctor also will say, I cannot do anything. So when the prarabdha is there, prarabdha may be very durbala. Durbala means you can address that prarabdha and change it, mitigate that. Then there is a mediocre prarabdha, manda prarabdha, which has to be maintained, which has to be addressed lifelong. And there is a prabala prarabdha which you cannot do anything. Even in spite of your parihara karma, it continues because the prarabdha is so dominant. So that way, the prarabdha can be mitigated or cannot be mitigated depending on the intensity. So all we have to know is we have to do our prayatna. We have to do the self-effort. Without self-effort, you cannot achieve anything. That is the most important thing one must know. So our prayatna is very, very important. So without prayatnam, even the gods cannot help you. Gachan pipilikayati yojananam satanyapi agachan vainateyopi padamekam nagachati. If it starts moving, even an ant can move hundreds of yojanas. It can travel hundreds of yojanas. Whereas if the Garutmanta will not step out, will not make any effort, he cannot move an inch. So that is the statement which says that self-effort is the most important thing. Without self-effort, nobody can ever achieve anything. So both the self-effort is important and God's grace is also important. So for everything, you need both these things are required. So with the clear understanding that the prarabdha is there and also your effort is required, with that clear understanding, we have to proceed in the sadhana. That is what this particular sloka emphasizes. Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmaivatmana jitaha anatmanastu satrutve varteta atmaiva satruvat. Yena atmana eva atmana jitaha tasya atmanaha bandhuhu atma anatmanaha tu satrutve atma eva satruvat varteta. The self is a friend of oneself for him by whom the self is mastered by the very self. But the very self would remain in enmity like an enemy for him who has not mastered the self. Atma bandhuhu. Atma bandhuhu means the self is a friend. Atmana, of oneself. Tasya yena, for him by whom Atma jitaha, the self is mastered. If one masters the self, the Atma becomes his friend. Eva Atmana, by the very self, tu eva Atma satruvat varteta. For a person who has not mastered the mind, for him, the mind will behave like his enemy. Now, this is a typical concept. Usually, the enemy and friend both are not the same person. If a person is a friend, he is not an enemy. If a person is an enemy, he is not a friend. But here, Paramatma is saying, you are the friend of yourself, you are the enemy of yourself. So how this is possible? You take any instrument, that instrument becomes your friend or it will become your enemy if you do not know how to use that instrument. If you misuse an instrument, it becomes your enemy. Same instrument, whether it is electricity, whether it is atomic energy, or whether it is our LPG gas cylinder, matchstick for that matter, your computer, TV, all these gadgets, they behave like your friend when you know how to use them. The same instrument will act like your enemy when you do not know how to use it. The electricity, if you use it properly, it can help you in various gadgets. It can help in the fan to give you the air. It will help in the bulb to give you the light. It will help in the refrigerator to give you the cooling effect. Likewise, the electricity gives many benefits. It gives a lot of advantages, provided you know how to use it. If you do not know how to use it, it will produce shock and it may cause the death also. So, the same electricity behaves like a friend or it will behave like an enemy. If you take the example of a knife, the knife is very useful in cutting the vegetables and cutting various things. It is very useful. And the same knife is dangerous if it is in the hand of a murderer or if it is in the hand of a child, because a child do not know how to use the knife. So the child may hurt himself by holding a knife. So the knife is both a friend as well as an enemy, depending on who is using it or depending on how they use it. In the same way, the atomic energy is very useful. We can generate power from the atomic energy, that nuclear fuel complex we have. So that helps us in generating the power. Atomic energy converted into electricity, useful energy. But the same atomic energy can also destroy if it is used in an atomic bomb. Look at that Hiroshima-Nagasaki case. It has created a real disaster in that Hiroshima-Nagasaki case. Whereas the same atomic energy is used in a useful way in different countries. Similarly, a matchstick can be helpful for cooking and also to burn something, to burn a house or to burn a crop. So that way, it depends on how you use it. If you use it properly, it will be useful. If you do not use it properly, it is dangerous. A computer can give you so many benefits and a great advantage by using computer. You can derive lot of advantages. But the same computer can also, create problem, because in computer, when you use the internet, a lot of unwanted things are available. So a person can misuse the computer and become spoiled. So computer is useful when you use it properly. It becomes your friend. The same computer becomes an enemy when you do not know how to use it. In the same way, TV is useful or it is harmful is a debatable question. TV, if you use it properly, it can really educate. It can give you a lot of knowledge. It can help you in growing, because so many good programs they are telecasted, they are given in the TV telecast. So a lot of spiritual programs you can watch in TV. At the same time, you can also get addicted to serials and movies and glue to the TV and waste a lot of time. So TV is useful and it will become a friend, it will become a mentor if it is used properly. If it is not used properly, it becomes your enemy. So the same object becomes a friend, the same object becomes an enemy. It depends on how you use it. In the same way, if the mind is used properly, then we can use that for the spiritual growth. If the mind is not properly used, if the mind is not under control, the mind is not mastered, then it will become an enemy. It will lead you to all unwanted things. So the self-victory is the real victory. Self-victory is a real difficult thing. So only when the self-victory is achieved, you can really get the benefit. One housewife went to a psychologist and she complained about her depression, mental depression, and her problem with the child, with the husband, with father-in-law, because she feels she is, exploited and made to work a lot, and she is not given importance in the house. Like that, she has got a lot of problems, and she complained to the psychologist. She is in the middle age. The psychologist said, look, your daughter is in the teenage. The teenage problems are umpteen, the adolescent age. You should watch her carefully and guide her. Unless you guide her, she will go astray. She will become a mental wreck. So it is your duty to take care of your, adolescent daughter. Then coming to the husband is in the business. So he has got a lot of business pressures, and naturally he will give vent to his feelings at home only. So he will show all his temperament, bad temperament at home. So kindly put up with it and try to cajole him, try to encourage him in the positive way. You have to be behind him to see that he flourishes in the business. If you do not encourage him, if you also create problem like the external world, he will not become a successful businessman. So your cooperation is very much required. And left over is the father-in-law who is in 70s. So the psychologist said that your father-in-law who is in 70s, his age is, so ripe. He is like another child. So he doesn't know anything. So it is like that. It is like you have another child at home. So try to treat him with compassion. Don't feel bad when he repeats a thing. Don't get irritation when he is asking a thing again and again. So try to understand him because of his age and try to cooperate. So like that, the psychologist was supporting all the people around and finally said that the change must come within. The people around you will not change. If you change, the world will change. The change must primarily come within us. So, if the change comes within us, then we become the friend of ourselves. If the change is not there, if you want to try to change the world and you are adamant and you do not change yourself, then you become an enemy for yourself. So, whoever masters the mind, whoever masters the indriyas. So such person is a friend of himself. If he is not a master of himself, then he is an enemy to himself. Seventh sloka. Jitatmana prasantasya paramatma samahitaha Sitoshna sukha dukkeshu tada banapamanayoh. Jitatmanaha prasantasya paramatma Sitoshna sukha dukkeshu tada manavamanayoh samahitaha bhavati. Jitatmana, for one who has mastered himself, who is tranquil. Paramatma, the supreme Atma, samahitaha, is evident. Sitoshna sukha dukkeshu. Sitoshna sukha dukkeshu means in heat and cold, in extreme weathers, the pleasure and pain. In pleasure and pain, his attitude will be same. He will not, become elated and blown up. He will not become, so much over enjoyed in the time of pleasure. He will not be, walking in air when there is lot of pleasure. And when there is a pain, he will not create a hell for the people around. So he treats both pain and pleasure in the same way. Sitoshna sukha dukkeshu, the extreme weathers, he treats them equally because that is the Ishvara prasadam. So, tada manapamanayoh. So, when there is some honor to him, he will not feel so great about it. When there is a dishonor, he will not be humiliated. He will not totally get depressed. So that way he will always maintain the balance of mind. He will be equipoised. That kind of composure will be there. For one who has mastered himself, the Supreme Atma is evident to him. He is the same in heat and cold, pleasure and pain, as well as in honor and dishonor. There are three types of minds, that is, three types of intellect. An intellect which is like coal, an intellect which is like camphor, an intellect which is like plantain stem. Then the coal buddhi is another thing, the plantain stem buddhi is another thing. Let us assume that a person has integrated himself. So, a person who is having this Karpura buddhi, he will grasp things. Whenever the Guru says something, immediately he will grasp it and assimilate in no time and get the benefit. Just like a camphor catches a fire, his buddhi will be very sharp. Whereas, if you take a piece of coal, if you want to burn it, it will take some time. To catch fire, it will take some time. Because you have to burn it and then kindle it and make it, a good fire. Ultimately, it will burn by slowly kindling it and applying some air or blowing some air on it. This is something like a Madhyamadhikari. Karpura buddhi is Uttamadhikari. The third one, which is the plantain stem, you cannot burn the plantain stem. On the contrary, it will put off the fire. So some students are like that. They will not get the knowledge, and the contrary, they will try to remove the knowledge of Guru. They will see that the Guru loses his knowledge. So that type of buddhi is called a plantain stem buddhi. So what is the reason for this? If you ask, the Karpura buddhi person has mastered his mind. Because he has mastered his mind, he could get this kind of knowledge. He has got this kind of intellect. Whereas a person who is not having any knowledge, on the contrary, he sees that the Guru's knowledge also vanishes, like the plantain stem. He has not mastered the mind. On the contrary, he pampered the mind. So a person becomes a friend of himself, provided he masters the mind. A person becomes an enemy of himself, provided he becomes a slave of his mind. So, especially when the enemy is within you, it is very difficult to manage, very difficult to control, because if the enemy is in the other country, it is easy. We can, fight, and, we can apply all kinds of ammunition to avoid. When the enemy is within our country, we cannot control, because we cannot apply the bombing and all that, because our civilians also will die. So it is like that. The mind management is like that. The mind management is within. The mind is within us. So to manage the mind and have control of this mind is a real tough thing. So Paramatma says 4 things are very important. If one has these 4 things, they can be successful in spiritual life. What are the 4 things? Equanimity, samatva buddhi, then self-confidence, self-effort, and self-mastery. So all the 4 are important. Self-mastery, the word self means mind, body, and sense complex. That is what we have to master. Unless you master these 4 things, you cannot be successful. Jnana vijnana truptatma kutastho vijatendriyaha iktayutyuchyate yogi samaloshtasma kanchanaha. Jnana vijnana truptatma kutastaha vijatendriyaha samaloshtasma kanchanaha yogi yuktaha iti uchyate. So one who understands the reality of Paramatma, for such person, Jnanam and Vijnanam, they reside in his antakaranas. So he is not affected by external things. He has the total mastery over his mind and the sense organs. For such a person, there is no difference between a clay, a rock, and the gold. He sees all the 3 uniformly. He treats them all equal. Now, there are 2 words used in this particular slokam. One is called Jnanam, other one is called Vijnanam. So we'll try to understand. These 2 words have got different meanings according to the different contexts. So we'll try to see what is the difference. When we say, I am the body and I have the consciousness, it is Jnanam. So the consciousness is a part of the body, and we take ourselves to be the physical body. The body, mind, sense complex is me. And within that BMS, the consciousness exists. This is called Jnanam. Why is it called Jnanam? At least I know there is consciousness. Earlier, I was not even aware of the consciousness. Now I know there is a consciousness principle which is working within my body, mind, sense complex. And it pervades the entire body, mind, sense complex and illumines the body. And then what is Vijnanam? Vijnanam is, instead of saying I am the body, mind, sense complex, we say that I am the consciousness. We have changed it. I am the consciousness principle. And I got this body as a temporary instrument of knowledge, like my spectacle. The spectacles I have got, it has got two glasses. When I put on, I am able to see and transact with this world. When I remove the spectacle, I do not transact. But remember, I continue to exist. In the same way, our body and mind are two glasses of the spectacle. When I use this body and mind, I have waking experience, I have dream state experience. When my body and mind are relaxed and I resolve myself into deep sleep, still I exist. I do not have any transactions in the Sushupti, but I continue to exist. And this is because my real nature is consciousness. And this attitudinal change, the change of identification, is called Vijnanam. So, the Jnana Vijnana Truptatma Kutasto Vijatendriyaha. So, this meditator, the person who has absolute control over the mind, who understood the knowledge, he will have the Samabuddhi. What type of Samabuddhi? He can treat that clay, a rock and gold, all are equal. All are equal means he knows this is clay, this is rock, this is gold, and their utility is different. But he will not give the priority to one and he will not neglect the another one. He treats all of them equally, means mentally in his mind he will not treat any speciality about a particular thing. For him, everything is equal in this world because everything is a manifestation of the consciousness. To sum up this class, we have to exercise the self-effort. Self-effort is very important. Prayatnam, Manava Prayatnam is very important. That is mentioned in sloka number 5 and 6. Every person is an enemy to himself and a friend to himself. So this is discussed. How a person can be a friend, how the same person can be enemy. If you take any instrument, if you do not know how to use it, the instrument becomes your enemy. If you do not know how to drive a car and you want to drive the car, it is disastrous. If you know how to drive a car, then car becomes your friend. Car will take you to the destiny. Otherwise, if you do not know how to drive the car and yet you are driving, then you will land up in the nearest hospital. So, Udaret Atmanatmanam, Atmanam avasadhayet. So, one has to uplift oneself. One should not degrade oneself. Atma eva hi atmanaha bandhuhu, Atma eva atmanaha ripuhu. This is the essence Basing on this, we have to develop self-confidence and put self-effort and finally achieve the self-mastery. This is the idea. The success depends on the Ishvara's grace as well as the human effort. So both are required, both are important. The human effort is required, the God's grace is required. So here in this particular fifth and sixth slokas, the human effort, so-called the free will, is insisted upon. We have some more slokas in this way, which we will learn in the next class. Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudatyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.